edition of Office Hours with my friend, Lili Kobielski from New York City. She's the author of this book, I Refuse for the Devil to Take My Soul. Lili, welcome to Office Hours.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Now, Lili, you are a photographer, you are a journalist, you are, I just found out, a professor at New York University of photojournalism.
Yes,
How do you do it all?
barely by the skin of my teeth. I also have two little kids, so it's been a challenge, but there's never a dull moment for sure.
Um, we asked students at Keith Middle School in New Bedford, Massachusetts, what kinds of questions they had for you, questions about photography, questions about journalism. And I think a lot of the questions that they had related to some of the process that goes into taking the pictures. First question, though, that I think people had is how did you start taking pictures? Like, how did you get into photography in the first place?
I actually started in high school where we both went, Concord Academy. Everyone, had their thing that they did, musicians or writers, and I, wanted to have something that was my own and that I could be good at. And I took a photo class there and never really looked back. And it was all analog at the time, so it was, shooting film, being in the dark room. I guess Photoshop was around, but barely. It's not something that was even taught. Um, so yeah, I fell in love with it maybe when I was 15, and I started shooting professionally when I was 18 when I moved to New York and went to NYU. My first job, my first paid job was shooting New York Fashion Week. Um, yeah.
So when you were shooting Fashion Week, did someone tell you to go out there and do it, or was that more of an idea that you had and you're like, I'm going to go out to Fashion Week and take some pictures on the runway or in the crowd?
I had an assignment. You can't get into Fashion Week without press credentials. So um, I was working for a small magazine, and I had started doing like street style for them, which then they gave me the shot to do Fashion Week, and I would shoot, I don't know, 5 to 10 runway shows a day, and then the parties at night, and it was all very exciting for an 18-year-old, and I did 4 seasons of Fashion Week. That was about enough. I was ready to move on.
But 4 seasons in that case, is that like that's 2 years? It would be a spring and a fall and the spring and fall.
So I did 4 fashion weeks over 2 years.
Got it. And in that kind of situation, so that brings back to another question, like how, when you're going out there and you're finding the stories or the subjects of your pictures, how do you find the right moment to capture? Like how do you know that this is going to be a picture that's worth presenting to the world?
Um, I wish I knew the exact answer to that. I'd be rich, but um, it's a lot of trial and error. It's instinct. It's just shooting and shooting and shooting. Um, and I've been doing this since professionally for 14 years, I guess. So I have a fairly good idea, like what is a good shot. Sometimes when I go back to edit, I'll be disappointed because I thought, I had better, but I've learned to always take more pictures than, you think you need. Like if you think you got a good shot, then just like keep working for 10 or 15 more minutes or an hour, however much time you have to just make sure you have like a lot of great options. If you're photographing for a publication, you have to think about getting a mix of verticals and horizontals and wide shots and close-ups and medium shots. So you have to really think about like a magazine layout as well, like when you're photographing. So that's something else to consider.